right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly OMFL podcast, the world's oldest, longest online CFM. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm the Commission Nate. Let me welcome in a new co-host this week, Mr. Maniac. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? I'm doing well. Looking forward to discussing these topics today. A lot of stuff happening, and sure everybody's interested to see what we think about it. So.
Yeah, there is a ton to talk about, and got a little surprise over here that we'll do at the very end. Before we get going, give us a quick update about the Deuce, man. I never get to really talk about the Deuce, and rarely do I get to have you on, but where are we at with the Deuce? How are things going on over there?
The Deuce has been doing really well. We're one guy away from having a full league right now, and we've got a new applicant in the waiting right now. He's fixing to play his test game, and we'll get him going. Hopefully, he passed his exam. But these guys these newer guys are excited. A lot of them are learning connected franchise mode for the first time, and so that's exciting to get their taste of franchise first with the OMFL grown folks type of rules that have been in place for a long time. And so far everything is going good, and excited to see the new blood coming into the community.
Yep, I'm excited. You've been more full this cycle than we have the last couple of cycles, so that's all good stuff. Well, let's jump right into it. Let's get over here and talk some updates from the last couple of weeks. We are already in week number, what are we in, 10, right? Are we in 10? Yeah, we're in week number 10. Yeah. Which I'll talk a little bit about after you do your breakdown. So week number 9, let me make this a little bit larger because my old eyes can't hardly see anything. There were some pretty good games like Pittsburgh and the New York Giants. Man, a lot of people have been questioning, is Cincyberg tanking? Is he trying to go for a high draft pick? What happened to his team? Well, he's starting to figure some things out. New quarterback, new kind of a lot of things over there. He comes away with a 21-20 victory against the New York Giants. 208 passing yards to 175 passing yards, 18 first downs to 19 for the Steelers. It really ended up being the turnovers were the story in this game. 3 turnovers for the Giants, 2 turnovers for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Cincyberg gets back on the winning track. This is going to be a team that will be a problem next cycle, but this cycle, I mean, not next cycle, next season, but this season isn't over, and I don't think he's just going to sit back and let the wild cards go for free. I think he might make a run at some of those. Buffalo with a 24-17 victory over Miami. Tampa Bay with a 28-27 victory over Kansas City. I didn't get to watch this game. I've seen some of the highlights. There were 24 points scored in the fourth quarter, and Tampa Bay scores really late. I think there was like 13 or 14 seconds left in that game. Crazy game that went right down to the wire. What's up, Herb? What's up, Bill? Appreciate you guys. That was a really good game. New England 24, Tennessee 31. So New England still not able to find their footing. Cleveland with a 35-31 victory over Big Hurt. Well, I'm sorry, that wasn't Big Hurt. Over Bird and the Commanders. More on that later. He is no longer the Commanders. Denver with a 27-20 victory over my Saints. And I think the last one I want to cover right here. Cincinnati loses 22-24 to the Las Vegas Raiders. I got to see pieces of this game. Las Vegas is a machine right now. They are just winning all kinds of games. They're playing exceptionally good football. Finally, Baltimore with a 26-24 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles as Mr. Nipples is back home and he's trying to find that kind of groove again. That's a quick look at week number 9. Mr. Maniac, take us away for week number 10.
All right, we got week number 10, and a lot of these teams right here we're going to talk about are all like in the top 1. And our top 5 in offensive defensive categories. But first off, we're going to start off with the Cowboys versus the Saints. We had a 12-10 game. I'm going to call this the game was like a little happy accident from the Bob Ross painting. You know, the sliders got messed up, but the Cowboys get the win and what turned out to be a super defensive battle and an interesting game, to say the least. The Vikings versus the Dragons. This seems like something from a Pixar movie, maybe. Well, there would be no dragon training in this. So the Dragons stay hot with a 24-16 win, and Big Hurt takes off and flies away from his Dragons. Talking about the new Big Hurt team, the Commanders versus the Bengals. This game was. What can you say? There was no defense. They forgot to get the defense off the plains. This was a Jamar Chase mile-high highlight show. He came back, welcome back party, 10 catches, 230 yards, and a touchdown.
Might be the highest scoring game in OMFL history, Maniac. I'm not 100% sure. That's almost 100 points. I mean, that's 99 points has got to be right up there with history making here in the OMFL.
I kind of thought the same thing, and the Bengals got a 51-48 win, so just no defense in that game. And the next one I'll talk about is the Steelers, Cincy Broncos with Jay Glaze. He also goes by a different Mile High, I think, for his PSN tag. But the Broncos bucked the competition here, securing the win over the Steelers. I almost feel like that the Steelers may have cashed in. I don't know, but this was a good game, though. It definitely was worth paying the tickets to watch this one, as the Broncos got the 23-17 win over the Steelers. And last but not least, the Bucks versus the Falcons. This was a wild game, to say the least. The Bucks 34 versus the Falcons 33. The Bucks invaded Atlanta, plundered the hapless Falcons. Ryder was higher than a kite during this matchup, but he showed up in a big way. 305 yards, 4 touchdowns. Wide receiver Goodwin would catch 2 of those for $150 and 10 catches. I think the Falcons are just ready for the bye week, because we let that one slip away. So, but good game there of the Bucks getting the 34-33 win.
All of these really great games, and I'm not. Oh, wait. Did I? No, I didn't. Okay, I thought I did mute myself to clear my throat, but I was like, I didn't unmute myself. I did. All of these great games coming in. And I'm not seeing any instant classic submissions, and I really want to try to get everybody back to doing that. Please, please, please take the 10, 20, 30 seconds it takes to submit an instant classic game. We literally have, I think we're now up to like 7 or 8 years worth of games. Like, you can go back and see games and descriptions of games. Like, it's so cool to me. I tried to this past summer to go back and rewatch some of those, but no one showed up with me. We're going to try to bring that back again. I think it would be fun to go back and watch a game from 6 years ago, 5 years ago, some of those old matchups. And I wish we had the full 20-year history, but streaming really didn't catch on until the last probably 10 years or so. So make sure that you're submitting those, because there's just so much there for us to be able to pull from and to watch. Like, it's just super duper cool. Now, we're going to do something a bit different here, because my guy Denbrew got me the news a little bit later than normal, and I just kind of ran out of time. It wasn't late. He got it to me around noon, but my day has been absolutely crazy. It's been batty. So here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to see. I think I can. Let's see. I don't know if this is going to work. We're going to try this together, Maniac. Me and you were in it.
All right. Let's get it.
Let me close this. All right. Calm down, computer. Everybody calm down. Let's see. Let's see if it works. I'm going to be watching.
Welcome.
Oh, it does work. Okay. Let me turn him up, though, because right now, because I play PUBG a lot, or shooters a lot with the guys, I've got it turned down. But because they're so loud. I can't hear footsteps or anything else when I'm playing the game. So I need to turn it up just a hair here so that you guys can hear him a bit better. Let me, here we go. All right. Mr. Denbrew, take it away for some OMFL news.
We are in week 10 of the OMFL season. Soon to be week 11 here. We got one game remaining. I am Denbrew, and this is your OMFL news. Week 10, we can call this the coaching carousel week. With the departure of Duvall in Jacksonville, this has set off a flurry of coaching moves. Jags, Panthers, Chargers, Bears, Commanders, Rams, as of last count, will all have new coaches. I'm sure Nate's going to cover all this, so I will not bore you any longer. Instead, let's take a look at the division standings. AFC North, two-team race between the Bengals and the Ravens. The AFC South is led by the Condors, with the Titans still there in the hunt. AFC East getting dominated by the Buffalo Bills. They are sitting at 8-1 and have a comfortable lead. AFC West is led by the Raiders, but the Chargers, Chiefs, and Broncos are all right there, so that one's going to come down to these last handful of weeks. Take a quick peek at the NFC. The NFC North, 7-2 Lions. They lead that division. Side note, they are the only team in that division with a winning record. Let's look at the NFC South. 9-1 Buccaneers have a commanding lead as the other three teams are all under 500 there. In the NFC East, it's the undefeated Cowboys who are rolling. And the other three teams all have losing records. So those three divisions, led by the Lions, the Bucks, and the Cowboys, all have commanding leads. And over in the NFC West, this is a good one. You got the 49ers and the Seahawks both sitting at 7-2, and the Cardinals hanging in right there at 6-4. So it looks like if the playoffs ended today, the NFC would actually have a team making the playoffs with a losing record. Yikes. So that is a look at your divisional races. In segment number 2, we are going to play a game. So get ready. We're going to play a game of Who Am I? Back to Nate and Press Pass Live. See you in a minute.
A little Who Am I coming up in session number 2. Yeah, no, it's not you. Yours has always got like this funky look. Like we know exactly when you've joined though. It's like, oh wait, what's going on? It's just all like, if you've never watched the PUBG streams, if you've never played PUBG with us, it gets crazy. And guys just want to talk, even in the middle of fights. And it's like, I can't hear nothing. So I got to turn it all the way down so that I can just hear the other guys. Let me say this. Before we move on, you're right, and it was a perfect way to say it was a happy accident. We have no clue. Listen, if you're not a commissioner of a league or created your own like side league, the menu for settings is crazy sensitive. And just going in there and just holding down on your right analog just so that you can get down the menu for us, usually to turn off injuries, go advance, come back, go turn the injuries back on. It will just automatically change things sometimes, and you won't even notice. Like, you don't hear it, you don't see it. It's just like you're running through it and it'll change things. Some way, somehow, it got changed to all Madden. I don't know if... Listen, we have a lot of great commissioners, and everybody helps and gets us advanced and check. And sometimes, like, people don't realize, like, I'm not in mine... my offline, and we were talking about an all Madden. The board brought it up, like, let's try it. So I don't know if somebody just like thought they were in their own like offline CFM, they were going to test it and play around with it, but they weren't. They were in ours. It doesn't matter. No one knows. No one recalls changing anything, but it got changed. And I realized that if you were watching my stream about halfway through, I was like, wait a second, there's no previous play. And then I went to kick a field goal. I was like, there's no field goal meter. Oh, crap, we're on all Madden. It was the funnest game I've had this entire cycle. And I lost, and it was frustrating with some things. Like, I couldn't hold on to pass. I had like 3, 4, 5 drop passes. I dropped a couple of interceptions, but it was a fun game. I lost to an undefeated team. He was good in the areas he should be good in. I sucked in the areas I should have sucked in. It was a great defensive, fun I had a blast. And I wish I'd say it sucked and all Madden sucked, but it was so much fun. And we will have serious discussions after the season about maybe giving all Madden a try, with us asking both owners as many times as internet allows to stream. It shouldn't be a problem outside of you don't see previous play, but we got to be grown ups. You got to play ball. Real coaches don't get to see the previous play that the other coach played either. Mainly, we need both people streaming for rule breaks, FPR breaks, that kind of stuff. And so asking, which is now the rule for those of you who didn't know, and you were all tagged and reminded about it, we ask both owners to stream outside of the specific situations that's not always possible. Mr. Maniac, for instance, he lives in the middle of nowhere, West Texas. Not going to be the greatest internet in the whole world. But when it's possible, we ask that everybody stream. So we'll see. I have no clue what it's going to be like, how it's going to be like, but I'm just giving you my experience. I don't even know how Dwayne felt about it because I didn't ask him, but I had a blast with it all Madden, and it was a competitive game. So
yeah, it definitely looked like it was a tight one. Even from all the stats from that game, you could tell like both guys struggled in a few areas, but like you said, you could also see where his team was dominant in certain areas, and that's where he dominated at. Your team was better in certain areas, and looked like you had a good time in that area of the game. So
it's nice to have some pass rush. I know that. Now, and that was with sliders that were set for All Pro. That wasn't even like clearly. It was an accident that got set on all Madden. So it was all Madden settings, but sliders set for All Pro. So that would need to be adjusted somewhat. Bill covered this perfectly for our next segment. Duval left. Duval left. It felt like it was time for him to go. Pepper moved over to the Jaguars. He lives in Florida, not a Jaguars fan, but lives in Florida, is closer connected with that team, wanted to get out of LA just to try some new things. Black Cats was ready to get off his Panthers. He's had them ever since he's been here, or at least a long time. Like a lot of us, when you own your favorite team, you get emotionally tied. It's harder to make moves. He just wanted to go play somebody else. So he moved over to the Chargers. I gave Bird the Panthers. I did not open them up. He's a fan. The guy is just an amazing human. He earned it. He moved over to the Panthers. Big Hurt moved over to the Commanders. And then Tim took the Red Dragons because he's doing everything he could to get away from that division. And I don't blame you. That left the Rams open, which is going to be our new friend Shiloh Bad, who I'm super excited and pumped about having over here. So Pepper to the Jaguars, Cats to the Chargers, Bird to the Panthers, Hurt to the Commanders, Tim to the Dragons, Shiloh Bad to the LA Rams. With all of that movement and all of those changes, there may have been a little shift in power, at least a big shakeup in power. And we've only seen a big change like this from 2 Maddens ago. 2 Maddens ago in the offseason, we just open it up. People can switch teams, do what they want to do. And there was this massive change in teams. I want to talk about after that change, who are we excited to see with their new coach? And who are we a little worried about, a little concerned about where they currently are and where the new direction with the new coach is going to take them? We've already seen the Omaha Red Dragons have moved back to Chicago, but he couldn't get the Bears name back. And we had to implement this rule. Thanks, Big Hurt. But if you move a team, you are stuck as that team because it gives me teams that are very, very difficult to feel. Because you got excited about the move doesn't mean other people are going to be excited about the move. So let's break down the ones that we're excited about talking or seeing in their new team. I'm going to get us started with the Carolina Panthers and Bird. You and I got to call the Deuce Bowl. He won the Deuce Bowl with the Carolina Panthers. They're his favorite team. The guy is just going to be rejuvenated, excited.
Versus Kobe. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Versus Kobe, who had the Jets, right? And he's the Jets here in the OMFL. And so, like, not against somebody we don't know a lot about. Like, we know a lot about how Kobe plays, how great he wins, how many consistently, season after season, he's right there in the NFC or AFC. And now Bird's taken over these Carolina Panthers, who I felt like Cats had already turned the corner, started to build a really good team. I'm excited to see what Bird can do with that team. That's the first team that I'm excited about. Who's the first team you're excited to see?
Well, I have to say it's the same team. Like you said, Bird's favorite team is the Panthers. My Cat's favorite team was the Panthers, but I've been in that situation before. I'm a Cowboys fan, and sometimes you get a little bit too invested. It's hard to make moves sometimes in the off season, and if if you take the approach more as a fan than you do as an owner, sometimes that can get in your way, and maybe that's what Black Cat saw here. But the excitement of Bird getting his team, I know he's done real well with the Panthers and the Deuce. Like I said, he won the bowl game versus Kobe and the Jets. Played a really good game. It was an exciting game to call with you, and I see nothing but good things going forward. He's definitely going to bring a different dynamic from Black Cats. Both are great owners, but Bird just kind of has a different style than Black Cat, and but yeah, I'm definitely excited for these Panthers and Mr. Bird over here in the OMFL.
I ain't gonna lie, that little pause between Black and Cat, I was a little nervous. He was like, you gotta finish that statement, Maniac. We can't just leave that out there like that. You gotta finish all the way through that one. The next team that I think I'm really excited to see are the Jacksonville Jaguars. Listen, when Pepper is excited, when Pepper is engaged, when Pepper is feeling himself, he is one of the top players here. Look, the guy's been playing forever. He's like me. He's one of the old PCers. There's not many of us left in this Madden community anymore. He played in those old PC leagues where the OMFL actually started. He would tell me, I forget exactly, but I think he might have been even like dabbling in one of the OMFL leagues. I know he's a part of some of the bigger ones, but when he is plugged in, when he's with his team, man, he is one of the better ones out there. And I think him moving over to an extremely talented roster is going to pay big dividends. And the AFC better be on note, because those Jaguars are going to start winning some ball games. And that is the team that I'm most excited about. Give me your last one. Who are you excited to see?
Well, I'm excited for the Commanders. Definitely Big Hurt. He's always been a really good owner, especially when he's able to plug in. And he always seems like he plays top talent in the OMFL really extremely well. Sometimes he'll underperform when he plays the lesser end of the talent format in the OMFL. But it seems like all the big guys like D Money, D Wayne, these guys, he's always playing them really tight, really good games, and seems like he comes out on top with victories than the normal guys like myself do against those type of players. So interested to see how he does with the Commanders. The Commanders are loaded on defense, especially. They got a lot of firepower on defense. He's got a young quarterback now with Howell, and he's got some speed at wide receiver. He definitely could end up being somebody that gives D Wayne and the NFC East a run for the money. But Big Hurt always seems like when he gets a team change, he kind of seems to have some psychological effect on him, and he always seems to do well when he's moved to a new team, usually within that season, the next season. So look for the Commanders to be plugging away at the NFC East.
I figured I'd do a little puppy check-in as she uncovered and now recovered herself. Let's talk about teams that we're a little concerned about. And concerned is a very loose word. I think we're going to share one, and then we kind of see one completely different. The number one team, Tim, I love you, okay? It's not personal. I'm a little worried about the Dragons. Tim just has to show me what he can do consistently. Was he held down by an extremely powerful, good set of owners there in the West? D-Money is D-Money. He makes all of us look bad at some points. Sometimes we can get victories over him. Tim took over a team that needed help. It was aging, not a lot of benefits there. You're playing against tough teams. He's taken over a Dragons team that looks a little bit different. By the way, everyone who moved, my guy Roger said he reset contracts. I don't exactly know what that means. He's going to have to tell me exactly what that means, but we're trying to just get it back to ground zero again, because there were no no re-signs unless you earn them. We're going to fix things. So just be patient with us. We'll work with you. We'll get it figured out. But I'm just worried about the Dragons. He's moved them back to Chicago. I'm like you. I did like the jerseys as well. I know Mr. Denbrew is not a big jersey fan. I thought they're kind of cool. I'm itching. I just don't have the time, but I'm so wish someone here would say, I'll start a custom league, 32-man league, make all the teams move. Everybody picks a new team, full fantasy draft. I think it would be so much fun. We used to have an OMFL fantasy league way back in the PC days. It was a ton of fun. But back to the task at hand, and that's talking about the Dragons. That's a team that wasn't built for him. He's taking over someone else's stuff. He's going to have to build them to fit him. I don't know if the game styles between what Hurt liked to do and what Tim likes to do, if those two match up closely or not. We're going to find out pretty quickly. You're stepping in past midseason over a team that's not for you. That can end in disaster, but disaster may be a good thing for Tim. Get some high draft picks. Go out there, rebuild that team with the assets that you now have to be able to rebuild that team. I think you might see the Dragons maybe the same.
Yeah, I'm definitely Tim's going to a division where he's going to be playing his favorite team, which that can also be a psychological thing. I mean, you're rooting for the Lions. You're a Lions fan, and then here you go, you're going to play them twice a season, so that can have an effect. Some guys, it may not, and it may not affect Tim. Tim may not have an issue, but I'm telling you, when I was the Philadelphia Eagles, facing Dwayne twice a season, I had this thought in the back of my head, man, I really don't want the Eagles to win. I hate to see my Cowboys lose any time. So I've always kind of had that little reserve in my thought process, and it may be stupid, but that's just me, and so that's kind of the slant that I'm looking at that. And then also you go from really having a really good draft, building your team. He's got some imports that are phenomenal. I know he's got a tough slate over there with D Money and with Meat Boy. There you go, in Seattle. But now you're going to face Trey, and then you're going to have Priest. Priest is no slouch, and Priest is actually in the top
at all
five defensive teams so far in this season. So that's going to be a tough draw. And then you've got the new guy with the Vikings, Bill in New York, who's actually started kind of turning that franchise around. He's got a couple wins, and he's been in pretty much every game that he's played so far. So you're going from one fire to another, and but now you're also faced with having to play your favorite team as another team twice a season. So I think it could eventually cause some problems, and maybe not problems, but just some problems for Tim facing his favorite team. And possibly in the future he'll be moving again. Maybe not this Madden, but looking at next Madden, he may be out of there.
Next team up for me that I'm a little concerned about are going to be the Los Angeles Chargers. And again, San Diego Chargers, because our guy Pepper moved them back to San Diego. Less to do about the owner, more to do about the team. Again, Pepper had to get them out of cap hell. He had achieved that. That team now could begin to rebuild in the areas they needed to be rebuilt. But Black Cats did all of that work in Carolina, and now he's stepping into another rebuild situation. And we've seen with Cats that it just takes him a minute to get that team built the way he wants them so he can win. He is stepping into what we all think is a winnable division. Now, I would say that our guy, oh, geez, why did I just draw a complete total blank?
Sharks fan?
Sharks fan. I don't know why I drew a total blank. I think it's because he's got several different names. I'm staring right at it. Just Sharks has shown that he can hang with the big boys. He put Tampa Bay to the very tip of that game, almost won it. He's got such a great team, but he's not consistent. And so we know that the Chargers can win, but is that team set up for the way that Black Cats likes to run his team? Does he need more time? Does he need more help? How long is it going to take him to get there? We've just seen him not be able to find that winning streak as quickly as he would kind of like to. And I think it may take him a little bit of time. He's got the quarterback. That's kind of settled, but does he have the other pieces that he's going to need? Time's going to tell, but he's definitely one team that I think I'm a little concerned about. What about you? Who's your last team that you're concerned to see?
I'm a little concerned about the Jags and Pepper. I know he's had a difficult time. In fact, I think probably his best game playing came when he was in Seattle. I think he really clicked with that team when he was there in Seattle. If I remember right, a couple bands ago. But sometimes a move can be good, and I'm hoping for Pepper that's going to be the thing for him. I think the Jags are a good young team, but the division is not going to be probably any easier. We got the Condors now that's over there, and he's been on fire. He's a running juggernaut in this league. Then you've also got Roger and the Texans. He seems like he's kind of turning the curve a little bit. He's starting to figure some things out, and he's really got that young quarterback doing pretty well. And then you got the Titans with their owner. He's also one of those ones that's got a different PSN name from his Discord name. So I'm trying to think. His Boss Hog, I think, on the PlayStation. But anyway, the Titans, they're not just the truth. There you go. He's not just a pushover either. He's got a really good team. He's built that team up pretty well. But I just Pepper, he and I share a lot of similarities. We get in our own way. We get in our own heads, and but I just, I kind of worry for him there and stuff. I hope it works out for him and stuff. But I don't think he'll stick with this team either. I think next Madden he'll be looking to move as well. This team is young, but a lot of their players are going to be coming up for contracts, and it's gonna catch up to them because they do have a really good young team. But all those guys are coming up for contracts, and probably the next Madden they're going to be a really tough team to manage unless they make some moves in the offseason as a team themselves. But good luck to you, every one of you guys that moved, and I hope it works out for you, though.
All right, let's turn it over to Denbrew for another quick OMFL news segment, and then we'll wrap this thing up with some mailbag.
Hey, we're back. Segment 2. Let's play a game. Who am I? Put your guesses down in the chat, but don't cheat. No cheating. No looking at Neon Sports. No jumping on the CFM and trying to figure this out. But here we go. So I am a current player in the OMFL, but these first set of clues are going to be from my career in college and in the NFL. So I am a former second-round pick. That's probably not enough to help you out. I did combine for 180 yards rushing and receiving, along with 2 touchdowns in the Sugar Bowl that we won. My team won. I led my team in both rushing and receiving in that Sugar Bowl, but I wasn't good enough to win the MVP, although my teammate that won it, they are still playing in the NFL right now. And one little nugget from my NFL career, I have thrown a touchdown pass in a Super Bowl. Any guesses? Throw them down there in the chat. Some little nuggets here from my OMFL stats per Neon Sports. I am 28 years old. I am averaging over 6 yards per carry. I have 9 runs of 20-plus yards on the season. And I am in the top 10 in rushing yards. Who am I? Put your guesses down there. That was a game of Who Am I? Back to Nate and Press Pass Live.
He's not going to give us the answer? I know you can't hear these. I don't know if you have it open or not. Oh, now you're listening to it.
My God. Like, Denver is so cold, man.
He's just left. Denver, I know you're here. What's the you can't leave us like that. What's the answer? What's up, Mo? I need the answer too. I thought it was it was going to be one of the Bama quarterbacks at first.
Is it in segment three?
Because Hurts, I think, played. No, he didn't play receiver that game. There is no segment 3. He only gave me 2. I can see it. Only 2. He said 2 segments this week, no music, which the music thing's a joke because he played music on the last one, but he's using like normal music. And I was like, I'm going to get popped. And the second I went unlive, I got popped. So yeah, you guys cannot use regular music on YouTube. Denbrew, I know you're around. You gotta let us know because I have no clue who that is. I could probably spend some time to think about it. Also, I seem to talk about all Madden. I think that was a perfect way to say it, Tim. Fluid. It feels very fluid. Players not just standing around doing dumb stuff. There's 2 things about this Madden. We've all played for a long time. My guy right here next to me, he was on the inside. He had say so and feedback, and like I've never even gotten to do that. It's super cool, but like I feel like some Maddens are just made to go a specific direction. Whether you like that direction or not, it's up to you. But like it's a couple of Maddens ago, right? They said pass rush is back, and boy, was it back. We had like I think the record in the OMFL is in the 40s or 50s or 60s. Like it's just, we had that crazy pass rush from 2 Maddens ago. This Madden, the 2 things I think are true. Can't prove it. No one's ever going to admit it. This is just my personal feelings. Number 1, there is no pass rush, or pass rush is very muted. Talk to any league, there's no pass rush. We start to see some of it last Madden, but I think it's here this Madden. It's how they wanted the game. They wanted people to score points. It's why the NFL is what it is. It's why the rules in the NFL are what they are. It's because offense gets ratings, gets advertisement dollars, all that stuff. It feels like that's the way Madden went. It's like, yo, we want to give the quarterback all day to throw. So I think no pass rush. And then the second thing is I think they've dumbed down all the modes. They've kept all Madden for us diehards who want it like super realistic, super sim mode, but it feels like they've dumbed down the other ones, which is crazy, which is absolutely crazy. Yeah, Mo, I thought that was last Madden. It definitely was that. Defensive tackles were so powerful last Madden, but unless you have like a X factor defensive tackle or you user, one of those 2 things, I'm not seeing a lot of, because I've got 2 young, good defensive tackles who get almost no pressure at all. But it's just weird. It's very inconsistent. All right, let's open up the mailbag before getting out of here. Mr. Beal said, through week 10 of season 107, Dakota and his Dallas Cowboys are the lone undefeated team in the OMFL, 10-0. Oops, I just covered it up. Let me uncover it. In your opinion, will the Cowboys run the table and go undefeated? Short answer, no. Not because I don't think he's a great player, not because I don't think he has the talent. I just think it's very, very difficult to be able to go undefeated in this league and not have that one game that's like, ugh. And the one stat that bothers me about his team is the pass game. He's bottom 3, or at least he was last Press Pass Live. He's bottom 3 in passing. That's going to have to improve to at least middle of the pack as he gets ready for the playoffs. And I think one of these games that's going to show up and it's going to hurt him. Now, D-Wayne's a super smart player. And like even in our All Madden game that he and I had, it was so much fun. Like, yeah, again, I keep talking about it, but like I lost and I wasn't, usually you lose and I'm like frustrated. I want to delete Madden. I don't want to play again. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to read the stupid, oh, good game. You know, it wasn't a good game. You just blew me out. There's nothing fun about that at all. Like that kind of stuff. Yeah, they need to put the answers in the chat. Denbrew wants to know. My answers were wrong. I thought it was a quarterback until I realized it was not going to be. Anyway, he didn't force the ball in that all-Madden game. He will run with the quarterback. But even then, he had the one big fumble, and he busted me on a couple big plays. So I just think that pass game is going to keep him from going undefeated. What do you think about the Cowboys?
I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, Dwayne is such a tough competitor. I mean, he wiped the face of Madden Earth with me 34-0 before he played you, and I mean, he's just, that running game is just clicking. Like he don't have to force. I think a lot of the reasons why he's bottom in the passing, because he doesn't have to force the ball. He either takes the check down or he's getting 8 yards a pop on running plays, and he's just. I mean, it's just his team. It's the way it's built. His line, his running back, they're good, and if you got something like that and it's working for you, I definitely see that's probably part of the reason why he doesn't have a lot of passing. He's just really, he's consistent. Like, he's the most consistent player in this league, and so and what you're going to get when you face him, and maybe that plays into the hand sometimes of D Money and some of those guys when Dwayne plays him, because he's so consistent and he plays a certain way. And they lock it down so well that sometimes it's hard for him in those big games, like with D Money and Kobe. And that's the two that I can call that he's had the most trouble with in the last few Maddens. But I don't think he will go undefeated. I mean, there's always, like I said, there's always a chance. But when you got in your last 6 games, you got the Bengals, Denver, who is also just as equally as potent and powerful, and he's got that team humming as well. Then you got Mr. Nipple, that has got his team really hot and going really good right now, the Ravens. And they're kind of, the Bengals and the Ravens are kind of similar. They play similar style, except like the Ravens are a little bit better, I think, on defense than the Bengals. And then you got the Seahawks, who have this Madden have been just an absolute powerhouse in that NFC West, and then you can't say that very many times in a division with D Money also alongside you. So that's going to be 3 really tough games in the final 6 for him to go undefeated, and so I don't see it. Is it possible? Yes, but I don't see it.
Yeah, totally possible. I too think he's going to run up against a team where it just doesn't work out the way that you were hoping it was going to work out. Dwayne says, is Baltimore the biggest surprise of the season? He's one hard nipple to play when he's fully plugged in. There you go. He's 8-2. 313 points for him, 219 points against him. I think he did miss 2 or 3 games that were CPU games, and the CPU this year is got a winning record, even though we've dumbed it way down. I don't know how much more I can dumb it down. For those who are wondering and asking, we're running the exact same sliders. I literally set everything the way the Deuce has it, because I'm so sick of arguing and debating about sliders and hearing how much better the Deuce plays. Whatever. I don't even care. There it is. So except for CPU quarterback, I've lowered that a ton now. Is he the biggest surprise, though, is the question. I don't know if he's the biggest surprise, just because we've always said how good of a player that he is and how much we know he can show up and show off. For me, the biggest surprise is the Raiders. I mean, that run game is absolutely a machine. His quarterback is making effective, efficient throws. He's playing really, really good football right now. I like the Raiders is the biggest surprise this season. Is Baltimore the biggest surprise for you?
Definitely, I would have to say they're up there. He's actually one of the top offenses, like you said. He has had some CPU help, but his rookie running back, and that's something else to go along with another segment here, or another part of this segment. But his rookie running back has just been putting up phenomenal numbers. And another thing that I see too from his team is he's got a pretty good red zone efficiency, and then he's also getting a lot of good first down. So he's making the most of his opportunities when he gets into the red zone. He's making the most opportunities even when he's on defense to keep the other opponents out of the red zone or the end zone. So, but I think for me the most biggest surprise, or the biggest surprise, is the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals have, the team that he had, the season that he put together last season, and then the draft that he had, he's just been putting up some really good numbers. Offensively, he's in the top 10 in offense. He's put up over almost 2,500 yards passing with the rookie quarterback that he has. 18 passing touchdowns, 14 rushing touchdowns. He's one of the top chain movers in the league. And then his defense has actually been pretty good as well. He's in the top 15 or so in defense. But he's got 19 sacks, 13 interceptions, and he hasn't given up a whole lot of points, only 289 points. So I think what the Cardinals have done to improve their team in the draft and how they're performing and how they're competing, I think they're probably one of the biggest surprises.
Up next, Mr. Dwayne is asking about our Tampa Bay Buccaneers friend. He says, Godwin and Palmer, the most dangerous duo. Oh, I'm sorry. Are the Broncos two receiver? Oh my God. I need a nap. That's what I need. Are the Buccaneers two receivers, Godwin and Palmer, the most dangerous duo we've seen in the OMFL, both averaging 100 yards a game so far this season? Let's see if we can get over here. I need to take my camera off here because I got it like right in the way. Oop, that's not the right one. This is the right one. I'm going to pull up their stats, but do you think that they are the most dangerous duo that we've ever seen in the OMFL?
I don't like this question.
You and me
facing them twice a season is like, I don't know. You stop one, and then the other one takes over, and you think you've stopped the other one, and then the other one takes over. He's not put up a whole lot of good numbers in the red zone, but he doesn't have to because he's playing for the big play. He seems like they're averaging, especially Palmer. He's averaging almost 13 yards a catch, and so and both are averaging over 100 yards receiving. Like I said, you stop one, the other one gets hot, and unless you've got just a super phenomenal back seven, and I'm talking like you don't have like one guy on one side and an average guy on the other side, and one in the backfield that's average. If you've got a full stable of good DBs from safety to the outside guys and even your linebackers, then maybe you've got a chance to start pulling these guys and stopping them. But if there's a hole in your defense, one of these two guys is going to find it, and they're going to get open, and he's going to get the ball to them, and they're going to score. And it's just and so I would say from my memory, from what I can remember, I would have to give them a thumbs up for being one of the most dangerous duos that we've ever seen.
Yeah, I would not say the. Both of these guys are great. Godwin has given me fits and nightmares for quite some time now. I can't figure out why or how. Literally the last game I played him, play right before half. Godwin, two guys go to tackle him, and somehow he breaks both tackles and takes it back for a touchdown. Just like just maddening things that happen with Godwin. Palmer's just got speed, and I think the difference here, well, as I think about a lot of the dynamic duos, it's more of a dynamic trio than a duo. It is the quarterback. You have to take that into account. He's got arguably the best quarterback this Madden cycle. There are also some duos that only I and maybe one or two other people, probably none of you actually, now that I think about it, sit with the context because I've been here for the entirety of the OMFL. I had a trio, a duo of receivers with a great 99 overall quarterback back in Madden. Oh, God, what was that? Madden 10? Madden 11, something like that. I think it was Madden 10 with Drew Brees, the one I got back here up on the shelf. They just Madden generated guys that were like, 99 speed, a quarterback 99 everything. Like he was. I don't know if y'all remember those Mads back in the day where there were there were like 10 or 15 pre-made draft classes, and and they were the same for every CFM. So it's just like if you played in other CFMs,
Yeah.
you would know what draft class. We had one of those, and mine was the Elway clone. Anyway, I'm rambling now to say they're definitely one of the top 3-4 duos that we've ever seen here. I just don't know that they are the duo, and I think a lot of their success, all of their success, but a lot of their success comes from the quarterback play. He is really, really excellent. Mr. Rogers says, who are the early candidates for offensive and defensive rookie of the year? This is a really good question, and I never have time to research these, but let's see if we can quickly bring it up. I don't know if you had time to go research any of these, but do you have any offensive or defensive candidates for rookie of the year?
I did get a little bit of a chance to research, and that Zeke or Zach Lake of the Ravens, the running back, he's just put up a lot of numbers on the offensive side of the ball. I didn't write down the numbers, but there was
195
I think 18
for
touchdowns,
1,050 and 18 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's insane, and we still got 7 weeks left to go in the season. So I don't know if there's going to be any possible records falling for that. But
we'll say real quick, we did decide that if you miss more than 2 games, you cannot be put up for an award nomination. And I think he's over that too. And so though he may look sexy, I don't think he's actually going to get an opportunity to win an award.
Put that shirt back on there because you're not as sexy as you thought. No. The other guy that I was looking at was actually Rogers' guy, his linebacker Pickles.
What a name!
That's just Cody Pickles. He's been putting up some solid numbers. I can't think of them right off the head. I'm looking at the
70 tackles, 24 solo, 46 assists, 9 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble.
So that's some pretty solid numbers going into the final half of the season. And that would, to me, I think would put you in a spot to possibly get some recognition of the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I was trying to do a quick research of possible defensive players that are rookies. No one else outside of Pickles is really jumping off of the pages here. Let's look at sacks. Not super sexy podcast material right now, but I'm seeing if we can see anybody that jumps out of the tippy top here. Kenny Cooper, defensive tackle for the Red Dragons, now Chicago Red Dragons. My head's going to melt trying to get all this right. I have so many changes to make. He's got 5.5 sacks already this season. Let's see if there's anybody else at the tippy top here. Henry McMillan for Mr. Bill, right in out of Clemson. He's got 5 sacks already this season. Some nice tackles too, 12 tackles for loss and 27 total tackles. The guy I wanted to talk about is a quarterback. I think that's going to be some of the top ones. And Vasily Drastic, or however you need to say it, I don't know. He's got 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, 54% completion percentage. Those aren't sexy, but he is at the tippy top, number 2 in the league in yards, 2,651 yards, the 22 touchdowns. And what we've learned, at least I've learned in the OMFL, is even with all of the interceptions, guys will still vote for Rookie of the Year, those kinds of awards. And so I think Mr. Drastic is going to be at the tippy top of that, and will probably win Rookie of the Year, depending on what happens with the running back situation. Mr. Rogers says, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I will throw out one other name, and this one caught my eye because every time I see it, I think about Dwayne, and his name is actually Dwayne Little on the Cardinals. He's got 48 receptions, 749 yards, 6 touchdowns, and he's also got, I think, a couple of kickoff returns, possibly. I don't know if it was him or not that I saw that was a Cardinals guy, but he's been pretty active on offense, and so I always think and see this name, and I think like, oh, there's little Dwayne there. So, yeah, he's another guy I think could maybe push for some hardware in the off season.
And Mr. Denver 10 minutes ago said, last call for who am I, and has yet to post who he is. I got to find this out. It's driving me absolutely nuts. Mr. Roger, you and I talked about this a little bit, but Roger says, which division will be affected the most by the recent ownership changes? I think that's a really good question. And my head sort of goes to the NFC South. I think immediately, you and I have struggled this season. Black Cats started out hot, but took a couple of steps back. Somebody's got to start competing with Kevin and those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going to be getting older in a couple of spots. I really think that those Panthers are set up to make a run here. And again, we've seen Bird go all the way to winning a championship in the deuce with that team. I think that's going to be the biggest immediate change, is going to be Bird and those Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you. And, Kev is probably the reason why that Black Cats went and bolted for the other side of the OMFL, because those two wide receivers we were just talking about, I think they would make anybody lose the rest of their hair that they've got. And I'm getting thin, Kev, so take it easy on me next time, all right?
Joe Mixon, I would have never guessed that one at all. I would have had to really, that would have been like my 10th or 15th guess by the time I got to Mr. Joe Mixon. It's a really good one. That's fun. You got to bring that back every now and then. Mr. Shocks fan says, who is the most inconsistent OMFL owner here? Easy answer for me. Don't even have to think twice about it. It's me. When I think about inconsistent, I think about guys who can win, but then have these terrible seasons. Like, I'm the most 500 player you've ever seen. I don't brag, but like, I'm proud that my one bowl game that I've made recently, I did win a bowl back in 12, 13. I don't remember. It's been longer before any of you, so y'all not going to ever know that I even won a championship here before we even started buying trophies. But I was in one 2 cycles ago or whatever that was against my guy, Mr. Denbrew, and I had to get there by beating a D Wayne and beating a D Money, and I was able to somehow pull both of those games out. But then I have like 2 seasons like I've had here where like I'm a 2-win team right now. Like I don't know why. I am just the most inconsistent guy who can hang with the D Waynes and D Money sometimes and then go get beat by Outlaw. Like, what? How can that be the same owner? But that's me. I just feel like I'm easily the most inconsistent owner. Also, the way people get angry with me, I wouldn't say anybody else because I don't like people being angry with me. You brave enough to answer that one?
I was thinking, say I'm not gonna like try to sound like that we're both like harping on ourselves, but I almost had to give myself this title too because I go even this season's like classic. Like I've had 2 games in a row where I won back to back and I scored like 34 points, and then all of a sudden I get the game with Dwayne and I throw up, or no, I play the Bengals. I put up 7 points total against the Bengals, and then the next game I play, I put up 0 points versus Dwayne, and so that's like 7 points in 2 weeks. And then I go and play Kev and throw up 33 points and nearly win a game. So that's just kind of like I'm the poster boy for inconsistent play. Get beat real bad, come back, look pretty good, get a couple of wins, feeling pretty solid, and then run into it's either a buzzsaw or maybe not even a team that's in the top 10 and just lay an egg because it for whatever reason. But yeah, so I have to give myself that title too. So
Mr. Kevin's next question is, do you think the Panther Nation is going to win his division now that he's moved over to the Chargers? Again, we touched on it a little bit. I think it's there for the taking, but Shocks ain't going to just give it to him. He's going to have to earn it. What do you think about Panther Nation moving over to the Chargers?
I think he brings a new dynamic to that division. I think him and Pepper play a little bit different, and I see the Chargers maybe fitting the style of Panther Nation there, and obviously the resurgence of the Raiders playing really good this season. Then you see the Broncos, both of those guys drafted to the top quarterbacks in this last draft, and you're seeing them reap the benefits from that. Their teams have improved tremendously. They've actually competed in most of all their games. The Raiders have got 6-7 wins now, competing for a playoff spot. And then then you've got the Chiefs with Shocks fan. He's been pretty consistent so far this Madden. He was played a really good season last season. He's putting up another decent season in season 107. And now you bring the new dynamic of Panther Nation over there with them. But I do think that team fits his style, and we'll see how that unfolds. But I do think that he'll have a chance at that division, and I thought he had a chance at the NFC South, but Kev is just kind of got a stranglehold on it right now. So we'll see what happens over there, though. Good luck.
We got a couple late questions coming in. We do need to cut the questions off, though, because we'll be here all night. So I'll get to these last two.
Come on, guys.
We got 3 more questions that we'll get to. No more questions after this one. I'm cutting this off. I'm going to save Kevin's to last, though, Kevin. So I'll come back to your last question because it's a pretty fun one. But Big Hurt says, late question, thought I posted earlier. But of the new team owners, who will be the most successful next season since it's week 10 right now? So next season, after somebody's had an opportunity to take control, kind of build that team to fit them, who do you think out of just those teams will be the most successful? I'm going way out of the box. I don't know nothing about nothing except for what I've been told. I'm going Shiloh. I think he's taken over a Rams team that has some talent. He's going to have to compete with some big dogs over there, but I think Shiloh has an opportunity to make some things happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn here. I really don't know. I think Big Hurt could be a candidate for that with the Commanders. But I think just talking from what we were talking about earlier with the what teams we were excited about, which teams we were worried about, I think it's going to be the Panthers and Bird. Going to his favorite team. I think he's going to have a little bit of resurgence. He was a tough out with the Commanders, but I feel like he seems to, the style of his team, the way his favorite team is built, also fits his style of Madden play and the way he plays. So I think the Panthers are going to be the one that reaps the benefit.
And his last question before we get to Kevin's last question, who will have the worst record of the new team owners? Ooh, he's trying to get us in trouble. Worst record. Now, the worst record doesn't mean it's got to be a losing record. It just has to be the worst record out of those teams. Ooh.
Everybody's going 500.
Yeah. Can we just say everybody's 500? People are trying to get me in trouble all the time. The worst record. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go. Yeah. This is tough because I'm going to say a team based on this roster. That's what's unfair about this question, is because this question needs to include the rosters that these teams have going into next season, which could be radically and dramatically different from a draft pick to a trade, like 1,000 things. If I had to base it on the rosters that we see, I would say Big Hurt and the Commanders, because we've seen a champion in Bird struggle with those Commanders because of the quarterback play. That's why this is an unfair question, because if he goes out and trades for a Tua, drafts a quarterback, whatever, maybe he can figure it out with Sam Howell. If this roster is dramatically different, then my answer is going to be dramatically different. But just for the sake of answering this question, I'm going to say that because of the inconsistencies that we've seen from Bird with that team.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, feel like this is like a trap, but the I think the Commanders, like you pinpoint, they could be a definite um, possibility for that. Having the worst, using my fingers in quotation marks, worst possible worst possible team out of the ones that switched, and I also see. With like the points that we made earlier with the special topic that we had, the Dragons, Tim again is going to a place which could also be said about Big Hurt, because now he's going to be facing his favorite team as well, twice a season, the Cowboys. And I don't know, I doubt that affects him or not. It may not even affect him, but again, like I think there's a small portion of psychological thing that goes on in your brain when you like something, support something, and then you're going up against them. There is just a little bit of reservation inside whenever you're doing something. So, but the Dragons could also be another one of those. Again, a lot of talent, but you're going from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
And a team that plays totally different from what you had. So.
And a team that won't have a quarterback because he doesn't want Tua. And that's one thing that, again, we just don't know these rosters. Who does he go get? I don't know. It just depends on who Tim's ever to bring in there. And depending on who he's able to bring in will determine what that record looks like. Because at the end of the day, you have to have a quarterback that you can play with. All right, last question, and then we're going to put a bow on the show. Kevin says, and this is a good question, if you were an owner, and I think we've had this question in different forms and factors in different ways, but if you were an owner of an OMFL team and you had to select someone to run an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, and a GM, who would be the three people that you would pick? Or maybe it's less than three people. Maybe you're picking other people. And I want to give you a chance to kind of think through it. I think I've went all over the place, right? It's so easy to go with the guys that we've talked about a lot, right? Like if you win consistently here, you're going to get talked about. That's just the way that life works. Back to Bill's question from a couple weeks ago. But to stay away from some of the unsexy names, I'm thinking about Nate as an owner. Who do I think? Because again, I don't really know any of you. I try my best to get to know you, but we don't get to like hang out and interact. So I'm thinking through from what I know of all the owners, and I'm an owner. Who would I jive with? Who do I trust? And there are a couple of names that kind of float to the tippy top for me. First reaction was, I want to get Denbrew on that in this staff some way, somehow. He's so professional. Like even listen to OMFL News. It's like he is a professional dude. You're no frills. You're just getting the professional Denbrew. It's like, I want that guy to help run my team. But when I think about Denbrew as a GM, he doesn't make a ton of trades. He kind of stays the course. Of course, he does. Even when he was with the Browns, he didn't have his favorite team. He sort of stays the course. Who do we have? Let's just get draft picks. Let's stay the course. And I kind of like that. But then I think about the D-Moneys of the world. And man, that guy will build you a team. But he also, D-Money disappeared. I'm all over the place here. I'm going D-Money to be my GM. I think mainly because the guy's going to be, he's super smart. He's a car salesman. He's going to go get the players that you want him to get. He's going to give tools and players to your offensive and defensive coaches. And I'm also going to approach this as like, I'm not going to personally share. I'm going to let Maniac do what he wants, but I'm not going to share anybody. So it's like they can't play multiple roles on my team. If I had to pick somebody to build my offense, run my offense today, I'd pick Kevin. We talked about the dynamic duo that he has at receiver, the great quarterback play. I think D-Money could get him the tools that he could really shine on offense. He puts up so many points, puts up so much pressure. And then I was thinking defense. I was like, perfect spot for Mr. Denbrew. But there's one other guy out there that I think would just be fun to have on my staff. Like, even if he sucks as a coach, I just want him around to make me laugh. I'm going Nipples. I want Nipples to come run I'm bringing in Denbrew to be my consultant, to consult and manage the office. But I'm bringing in Nipples because that guy's going to make sure that lunchroom is fun. We're going to play great defense, and he's going to just be the anti-Kevin. And those two are going to have great practices and great training camps. It's going to make my team better. I'm going Kevin to run my offense, Nipples to run my defense, D-Money to be the GM, and then some way, somehow, I'm making up a president of my team. I'm bringing in a fourth guy to be Denbrew because he's Mr. Professional. He'll make sure none of these guys get out of line.
Yeah, I actually like that team setup. I was thinking, I was trying to think right here, and I think for me, and I'm gonna throw out some different names. I was thinking, you could always, like you were talking about, you can always throw the top guys out there and everything, but I'm thinking about guys that have been consistent, but also movers and shakers. Bill would be my GM. He's a no nonsense guy, but he's also going to make me moves. He's also going to get my team built up. He's made a solid team there in Buffalo. He's made some moves. He does pretty well in the draft. And so Bill would be my GM. And then my offensive coordinator, I'm actually going to go with D. Wayne for my offensive coordinator, just because the simple fact that he has my philosophy. He runs the rock. He's consistent. He goes along with Bill. They match up really well. Bill's going to get him the consistent players to perform his offensive strategy. And so I'm taking Dwayne for my offensive coordinator. Now for defense, I'm kind of going to go in a totally different direction here. I'm taking Roger. Roger has put up one of the most consistent defensive teams in the last couple of Maddens. He struggles a little bit on offense, but his teams, if you look at his record, most of the time he's actually losing pretty close games, especially when he starts getting the game figured out and has time, and he's not under the influence of the drugs that he has to take sometimes because of his situation and stuff. So, and I know he said that before. If I'm not under, he said I play pretty well. So give me Roger for my defensive coordinator, and my special consultant, assistant, or whatever. I'm gonna take you. I think you fit in well with managerial stuff, and then also getting my team prepped. Get the players signed on, get guys ready to go, and working in hand with those guys. So that's
This could be so much
makeup.
fun to think through, like the different groups and scenarios. Like I could see like a Denbrew being my GM, a Bill running my defense. And I was thinking about I was thinking Trey could run my offense, but I think those two would kill Trey before the end of the season. So like I'd need another offensive coordinator. Man, I'd have to really think, like, who would I want to run my offense? Maybe a Shocks, like let Shocks run my offense, let Bill run my defense, let Denbrew be the GM. So this would be a fun, maybe whole show to see how many different combinations we could come up with. All right, let's wrap up the show with a couple of things. First, I got a box right here that's been sitting here all day. It's still sealed. Little unmarked box, still sealed. Waiting, little tab. These little tabs on these boxes, like it's like, remember as a kid they had the popcorn paper.
So I can see it.
You would want to pop the little bubbles on the what is that stuff called? Whatever that stuff is called. These boxes, like this tab just wants me to pull it, but this wasn't supposed to show up for a little bit, and it's an unmarked box. There's nothing on the box, and so I didn't know what it was. Come to find out, it is my new computer. So we're gonna do this live right here. It's
unboxing. Yeah.
So satisfying, isn't it? My dog is like, "What is going on, Dad? What are you doing?" Oh, it's upside down. Oh, there we go. Little Mac Studio action. All right.
Nice.
This is gonna take me. It's gonna take me a moment to get set up. There's another tab. What is with these tabs? Apple and their tabs. There's like another little pull me tab right here. There's always something about unboxing new items that just feels good, doesn't it? It's like
Oh yeah.
I want to put it back
Absolutely.
in the box and redo it again. There we go. So that little tab's gone.
Make it even more special. Wrap it up with Christmas wrapping and just rip into it really good.
Now I got to figure out how this thing undoes. What the? Oh, maybe. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Ah, look at there. All right, let's get a little closer. Let's see if I can go full screen here. Like I gotta come up with something better than this, Nate. The puppy has now moved. She's over here. Get this mic a little bit closer. Let's see how much I can show here. Open. And there she is. Of course, all the paperwork and wires are in the box. You know, however you feel about Apple, that's your business. Everybody feels certain ways about certain products. They know how to package things in such a way that makes you feel like you're doing something special. Yeah, this is, let me see if I can figure out how to get her out of here. So you got to rip all this paper and it never goes. It's like, well, I don't want to rip it. Like, I want it all to stay like it's supposed to be. Oh, there it goes.
That's nice, man.
And there she is. My $2,500 investment for you guys. There were no OMFL funds injured or hurt during the filming of this product. Did not use y'all's money to do this. I always feel like I need to say that, but this is my hard-earned money that bought this. Actually, it was just a little bit of my money. The rest of it you got to pay every month until this thing's paid off for. But there she is, new Mac Studio, ready to go. I can't wait to get this thing going. This thing is a beast. A new M2 chip. 1 terabyte hard drive, what is it, 36 gigabytes of RAM, big M2
wow.
processor, upgrade it to a 32 core GPU, so I've got more GPU power. Should be fun. I'll be able to start streaming in back in 2K, maybe even bump up to 4K, we'll see. I'll be able to have like Maniac and other guests come be on video with me without this thing completely burning up and shutting down, and it'll be fun. I'll be able to do a lot of really cool, fun stuff, and it should last me quite some time. So it's funny, Tim.
That's awesome, man.
Who was I talking to? Oh, I was talking to a good friend of mine who's our assistant director at work in my department, and he said, Merry Christmas or whatever. It was like something about like Christmas present to yourself. I was like, it doesn't feel like it. Like a present to yourself is like something that you, like a treat that you give. Like this is just a bill. That's all this is. This just meant this is a new bill for me to have for the next 12 months as I pay on it. The older we get, right, the things that we like and enjoy just become more expensive. And that's all that thing is. It's just a new expensive toy that I get to pay for. Maniac, give me one final closing thought as we get out of here, man, and I go try to talk the wife into. No, Big Hurt wants me to play, so I can't set it up. I got to figure it out anyway.
Darn you, Big Hurt. No, it's a great show. It's awesome that you unboxed it there. It's really neat, and so glad you got that. So looking forward to seeing content created with it. Because you always put out great content, so it's going to be exciting to see how that improves all that for you. A lot of moving and shaking in the league with teams switching around. Excited to see the new guy coming in, Shiloh Bad. He's from the Deuce. Really good owner. He's actually lives in Taiwan, but he always makes time and effort to
He's
make
a teacher.
games.
I found out
games.
last night.
Yes, and so he's
and
a
we'll play it
really
any
neat guy.
time of the day.
Yep. Yeah, and he will, and he's been one of our most consistent owners from the Deuce, and that's the reason why he was like tops in the list to get a shot to come up back come into the OMFL. So I'm excited to see him, and he's a tough out. I mean, he's been a consistent playoff guy in the Deuce, and he's been in the Deuce for 2 Maddens now. So excited to see what he does, and all these guys that have moved around. New excitement. It's kind of in a way, it's a mini restart to their season, and so hoping that guys will start doing some content. I need to start doing some more content. I need to get some Tony Bono stuff going. I've got a couple ideas to start doing something that's not real heavy on my time, so maybe I can do a couple of things. I really missed doing the highlight show. I really enjoyed doing that. That was awesome. Wish I could bring it back, but it was just too hard for me to go search down all the highlights myself. That's what I did on that last one, and then I never got the last one posted. So yeah, it's just thanks for having me on, and really looking forward to making a final push for the season and getting ready for the off season and all that good stuff, man. So.
Well, I know Mr. Big Hurt said he wants to come on a show, so I think he's actually going to be what my announcement was, which was a hot seat. So both Shocks and Big Hurt asked if they could do a hot seat. We're looking for some hot seat guests. We usually go around 3:30, depending on how my day has been going. On Mondays, I get started a little earlier, so I can do this a little bit later. But the idea is to drive home, that you guys could listen to this on the drive home. At least that's the hope for some of you. So I know Big Hurt's going to be popping in here. We'll do some hot seats. I think Mr. Maniac's going to be helping me out a bit. Trey's going to be taking a little bit of a break from the show. So we're going to be mixing it up and trying some new hosts and some new things. I probably won't get to actually hook this big beauty up until late tonight because Big Hurt needs to play. And if I'm going to stream, this isn't going to be set up to stream. This thing, the old one's got to be set up. So anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun to have things set up. I still have to do some Neon Sports videos. Life has been crazy for me as well, and I haven't been able to do any of that stuff. So a lot of fun things on their way. A lot of fun things going to be happening, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the season. And just one more vote of I really want to play all Madden. I don't know that we're going to, but it was a lot of fun to play and a lot more fluid. So we'll see how it goes. Guys, I love you. You have a great rest of your Monday. Have a great week. Remember, take care of those that you love around you. Take care of yourself and know that I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks for popping in here today. Maniac, thanks for hanging out with me. Guys, we'll see you on the next one.
My pleasure.
Okay?
Later again.
Smash that like and subscribe.